from Pulp Fiction. I started on this article earlier today, and I want to finish up with it. Why mental illness is considered a hazard of occult practices. Now, before I get into this full boat, that you can go to crusadechannel.com. You can find this series. It's a very short series, but a lot of work went into it, called the Deliver Us from Evil Tapes, the series. So there were 3 episodes that I am most proud of. That's episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3 of the Deliver Us from Evil tapes. And it's all about the Amityville Horror, what they call the Amityville Horror. And it features the former NYPD Sergeant Ralph Sarchie. And of course, they made a movie in 2013 about Sarchie, Ralph's work at the NYPD, and how he encountered these people that were possessed and obsessed, and they were messing around with the occult. And they shouldn't have been. And the NYPD had the telephone number of certain members of the Diocese of New York who they could call and go like, "Hey, I think we need the exorcist." And they would call, and then, sometimes that would actually be the case. That's kind of what the movie was about. And the book, Deliver Us from Evil, although the book was about the people that Ralph met were dabbling in the occult and other evil things in New York City. So, you should listen to the series, the Deliver Us from Evil tapes, the series, and then the extended version with my 6 interviews with Ralph, where he and I talked about all things occult and how certain things happen and how certain things occur, and that they really are preternatural in composition. In reality, there really is. There is a demonic force, if not an actual demon, that is causing the obsession, possession, or whatever. There are things called contact objects. You got a contact object, and if you don't know what that is, well, I think in this story we'll learn about it. But the point being here, if you know someone that is messing around, is even like joking about, well, I think I'm going to go ask Satan. Dude, don't do that. Because the demons are all around. You say that, and the alarm bells go off, and it's feeding frenzy. So you basically have invited the enemy into your life, and they are not going to let up until they get their man or their woman. Yeah, but that's not going to happen to me. Dude, why put yourself in that position? No one should have so much pride that they think that they're holy enough to overcome a full-on demonic assault. Because there are many people that thought they were holy enough, and it didn't matter. So before we even get into the story, just a little bit of a disclaimer here. If you're going to listen to this and are going to talk about this, I would suggest, especially for those that aren't Catholics, that you probably not listen intently, because you don't know the St. Michael prayer. You don't have any access to sacramentals and holy water. You have no protection whatsoever. Yeah, I got JC in myself. Well, you may. That may be true. I'm not going to argue with you. The demons pick easy marks. They're lazy. You don't get thrown out of heaven because you're a hard worker. You get thrown out of heaven because you wanted to take the fat bastard easy way out. And God went, you can't do that up here. I'm God. Get out. So use discretion before you even discuss this. Now I have all of your attention. I'm going, now you have me wanting to. Okay. Now to the story. Why mental illness is considered a hazard of occult practices. Okay, is everyone on the same page? We should probably douse ourselves with holy water before we start talking about this. So this is at womenofgrace.com, and the story begins with Father Gabriel Amorth talking about how there are a lot of people that come in that aren't really possessed, but they do need psychological help. And then he says, then they go on to say, recent research suggests satanic and occult rituals may actually trigger psychopathological reactions. Dr. Zlatko Sram from the Croatian Center for Applied Social Research published an article in Open Theology in which he argues, and this is a quote, that people who practice black magic or have otherwise occult bondage in their history are particularly susceptible to comorbidity of depression and psychopathy, close quote. So what does that mean? That means that if you're playing around with this stuff, you're asking for trouble. Dr. Schramm surveyed over 1,000 participants and found strong evidence that people suffering from depression and psychopathy were simultaneously, quote, attracted to satanic practices as a means of obtaining magical power and control over their destiny, regardless of their sex or ethnic origin, close quote. His research categorized different practices, from psychic seances and black magic to reading books and magazines with occult issues. What's an occult issue? The hell is that? Literally, what the hell is that? And found that psychopathy and depression were significantly predictive of what he called satanic syndrome in people who had been subjected to occult involvement. These people suffered bouts of depression and mental disorders nearly twice as often as the rest of society. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what is known as oppression. So there are 3 levels of demonic assault. There's infatuation, there is oppression, and there is obsession. Most people think it's possession. Actually, obsession, possession, pretty much the same thing. But oppression is the demon's favorite because he doesn't have to work that hard. He just has to stay on your case, make you think that you're schleprock, and that no matter what you do, you're going to be a lihu zeher. And they just keep doing that, rinse and repeat. And you know what it ultimately winds up doing? It either drives the person insane, and then they actually get committed, or they commit suicide. And they think they're doing themselves and the world a favor. This is an important study in that it takes ontological claims seriously and supports the real possibility that demonic forms of bondage may be linked to psychopathology, as evil forces can interfere in human behavior, comments Professor Ralph W. Hood from the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. Occultists and their victims often end up in mental institutions when the experiences they have encountered push them over the edge. The acclaimed Dr. Koch refers to a New Zealand psychiatrist who claims that 50% of the neurotics being tweeted 50% of the neurotics being treated in clinics in Hamilton are the fruit of Maori sorcery. Now, if you don't know what the Maoris are those very broad foreheaded, broadly built, dark-skinned natives of New Zealand. Not sure their origin, but that's what the Maori are. All of these pagan civilizations across the world, if they haven't been visited by Jesuit or other Catholic missionaries and they remain pagan, they all have some sort of a pagan occult culture. Look at what Cortez and the Spaniards walked into here when they got to Mexico. And they met the Aztecs, who were in Mel Gibson's movie Apocalypto. You get a pretty good idea what the Aztecs were doing. That's what Our Lady of Guadalupe converted. The Aztecs were ripping the hearts out of living human beings, were converted to being devotees of the Blessed Virgin Mary in the form of Our Lady of Guadalupe. So back to the story. Koch also knew a Christian psychiatrist who believed that sometimes over half of the inmates of their psychiatric clinics are suffering from occult oppression rather than mental illness, but that this occurs only in areas where occultism is extensively practiced. Now, it ought to be significant here that when they say occultism, what are they doing? Ladies and gentlemen, for the uninitiated, they're using contact objects that are by design contact objects. I'll give you the most famous one. If you know someone that has a Ouija board, tell them to burn it. Don't throw it in the garbage. burn it. Take the Oculus, the thing with the glass eye in it, smash that with a sledgehammer, take the rest of it and all the other pieces and burn it, incinerate it. You know, the movies that have kind of made some of this stuff infamous or famous. In the Deliver Us from Evil series, Ralph Sarchie and I talk about, because he knew Ed and Elizabeth Warren. He especially knew, I said Elizabeth Warren, Ed and Lorraine Warren. Well, she is a Witch Warren. I call her. She is a sorceress, by the way. He knew Lorraine Warren. There's an interview. I should replay this one of these days or do a show on it. There's an interview that Lorraine Warren gave once where she was talking to her son-in-law, Tony Spiro, and she told Tony Spiro that the Warrens were working on a case and that she had gone into this particular case and she had her St. Padre Pio relic of the True Cross. And as she was watching this evil that was going on, you know, she was saying prayers and she was clutching the relic of the True Cross. Well, while she was doing that, she was pretty much protected. Well, when she got home, come to find out, the evil followed her home. Ed wasn't there, and Lorraine is in bed, and she's got the bedroom door open, and she can hear footsteps coming down the hall. She knows that Ed's not there. She knows that her daughter is in another room, and it's not the daughter. And then the thing starts moaning. It's on the tape. You can hear it on the tape. It's the creepiest stuff. All Lorraine Warren, who was in a state of grace, did was get close enough to this thing that it ID'd her as a mark and then tried to take her. Of course, she was a holy, pious woman, and this the demon had no success. Imagine, though, someone else that went to this seance, I believe it was a seance, that went to this exorcism of sorts, and wasn't in a state of grace, had no sacramentals, which is a scapular, a blessed crucifix, holy water, a relic. I carry a relic, so I have a relic on me right now. You would have no protection whatsoever from this. None. Other than God. I mean, your guardian angel could protect you, and God could say, demon, now, demon, I told you that he is off limits. These people that wander into this stuff, if you see any object that has the inverted pentagram on it, that's Baphomet, Bagel and the boys, that's a demonic symbol. Stay away. That's a contact object. All that is needed for that thing to become active is for someone that's got a bogey on or near them to touch it or to get near it. This is what the exorcist will tell you. A Ouija board. You know someone's got a Ouija board? If they've used it, that is a contact object. There's no doubt. There are bogeys all over that damn thing. You get anywhere near it, you're going to get a visit. And they're going to start working on you. And that's what this story is about. And I'm not going to finish it. The phenomenon has been studied by other experts, such as Dr. Scott Rago, who, well, I'm not going to finish it. We'll pick this up on tomorrow's show, or maybe we'll do it here. My advice to all of you that just heard this and got holy water, go bless yourself. And if you don't, learn or say the St. Michael prayer. Get your tickets to win.